Okay, good evening again. Now we're here in order to complete our teaching practice workshop. So for tonight, uh, I show the topic called tag question, right? So let's start with it. What is a tag questions? A tag question is a small question added to the end of a statement. It is used to encourage someone to make a small talk with you or to confirm something you think is true. Obviously, these have to be a very important part of using tag question, that is the intonation, right? Later on in another video, we are going to see how to use the intonation of the tag. Now we go to the basic first. Okay, we have an example of a tag question here. For example, the weather is beautiful today, isn't it? Yes, it is. She doesn't study English, does she? No, she doesn't. So sometimes people ask themselves what it means in Spanish. It's like a normal question or very small question we add to the end, like ¿cierto? ¿Verdad? ¿Sí o no? So let's continue using the tag. To write a tag question correctly, we need to take into account some important rules, which are the following ones that I brought tonight to you in order to make you understand how to write a tag question correctly. Rule number one, the statements rule. We call the statement rule because it's basically about the statement. So it is. If the statement is affirmative, so the tag's negative. But if it is negative, so the tag is affirmative. Let's see the previous example sentences. Statement. The weather is beautiful today. Tag. Isn't it? Answer. Yes, it is. As you can see in the first one here, we say the weather is beautiful today. It's an affirmative statement. So the tag is negative. Sentence number two. She doesn't study English, does she? So this case, this statement is negative. We have the negative auxiliary doesn't. So in here, the tag is formed with the auxiliary in affirmative. That's. Oh, let's see something important here. No, she doesn't. Let's see this important note. It said, note, the tag questions are always answered in short form, like in the examples. Oh, it means the weather is beautiful today, isn't it? Yes, it is. She doesn't study English, does she? No, she doesn't. So the answers of attack questions are always in the short form. Rule number two. The tag always uses a form of be or an auxiliary verb. Example, be, have, do, or will, or a modal such as could, such as can, could, or should. So sorry for my writing here. It was can, no, come. And here I repeat it, but don't worry, it's okay. Uh, anyway, so let's continue with the sentences to see the examples. Statement and auxiliary verb. Your brother is sick, isn't he? So in this case, in this example, the auxiliary verb is the verb be, is. That's why in the tag I say isn't he, and obviously paying attention to the previous rule statements that we already talked. Statement number two. You can run fast, can't you? In this case, we are using the auxiliary can in the affirmative statement, and obviously, like we have the auxiliary in the tag, the modal auxiliary. And it's negative because the statement is affirmative. Now we go with the rule number three. Only use pronouns in the tag. Never use names or nouns. It means it no matter if in the sentence or in the statement we have a name, the name of a person, or we have a noun. we never use names or nouns. We only use the pronoun that can replace those names or can replace those nouns. So let's see some examples. So now let's see some right and wrong examples. Maria is a teacher. Is a Maria? So that's incorrect because, like I said before, we don't use names. So the right form is Maria is a teacher. Is a teacher. Isn't she? That's correct. She is going to be the pronoun that can replace Maria. Let's see the second example. Andres was an actor. Wasn't Andres? That's incorrect. Again, I'm repeating Andres. Andres was an actor. Wasn't he? That's right. That's correct. I'm so sorry again. I wrote here incorrect and it was correct. Okay, you're right. I'm quite sure you noticed. But let's continue. Now you know what I mean. Tag questions, special cases. When we use I am, the tag is formed with aren't I. So that's one of the special cases, especially apply for American English, right? Let's see an example. For example, I am your t-shirt, aren't I? You see, I'm using I am in affirmative, so forming the tag, I say aren't I. So I don't say am not I use aren't I or aren't I. It depends of some if you want to have the pronunciation preserving the T, yep, aren't I, or omitting it, aren't I. That's it. Okay, let's see the other example, but in this case, we're going to have in this example, I am not. So the statement is going to be negative. But in negative, it is used normally. I am not. So the tag is formed with am I. Example. I am not your teacher. Am I? So we are using it here normally because we say I am not. And I'm not negative. So we can use am I in the tag. But remember, if I'm using I am in affirmative, the tag is formed with aren't I. Now we continue with some other special cases. In this case, where you want to use some pronouns for replacing other words, like the demonstrative. So it means the tag pronoun for that and this is it. Let's see the sample sentence. That's your car, isn't it? This your book, isn't it? So I'm using that and I'm using this. So I change it for it in the tag. The tag pronoun for those and this is they. Sample sentence. Those are not your parents, are they? These children speak English, don't they? So we had those and this. The pronoun in the tag is they. Now let's see another one. In sentences with there plus be, there is used in the tag, so it cannot be omitted, it cannot be changed, right? So we continue using there in the tag. Some sample sentences. There is a party tonight, isn't there? There are some new students, aren't there? So remember, we always preserve there. Cannot be omitted, cannot be changed. Now we have another special case here with indefinite pronouns. Remember that an indefinite pronoun is a word that replaces a noun or names of people or objects. It says like this. When the indefinite pronoun refers to people such as someone, nobody, anyone, somebody, everybody, no one, anybody, the pronoun in the tag is they. For example, nobody won the test, did they? So you say, but why did they? Why not didn't they? Cox, remember that nobody is a negative indefinite pronoun. That's why in the tag I use the auxiliary D in affirmative form, right? When I say won, I'm referring that the action was in the past. Let's see the second example. Everybody wants a house. Everybody wants a house, don't they? In this case, I say everybody. I'm referring to people to want, simple present, don't, because do and don't words with they, right? It's like the previous example before, but in simple present. Now let's continue. When the indefinite pronouns refer to tense of things, such as something, nothing, anything, everything, the pronoun in the tag is it. For example, nothing went wrong, did it? Oh, and again we got nothing. It's negative, the tag gonna be affirmative. Something smells delicious, doesn't it? Again here, something smells delicious. It's simple present, and I'm talking in an affirmative way because I'm using an affirmative indefinite pronoun. That's why in the tag I use the negative auxiliary here. As you can see, I'm going to show you here, doesn't, and I use the pronoun it. Okay, guys, I hope that with this information, with this explanation, you can now handle the tag question. So I prepared something for you now to see how well can you handle it, right? So now let's see how you can handle the tag with the following short tests. So you're gonna have exactly 5 minutes to complete your test. The time's running. It says, write correct tags. You've called the movers. You're coming tomorrow. This isn't going to be cheap. You haven't finished packing. We don't need any more boxes. Paul is going to help us. We can put some things in storage. Jack isn't buying our bookcases. The movers aren't packing the books for us. Moving is hard. There was an accident. Nobody was hurt. So the idea is to complete the tag in the right form. Okay, guys? And okay, teacher. So the answers of these tag questions sentences are going to be included in the next video. So don't miss it and wait for it.